What's going on, everybody? Good morning. I'm Brad. And you're muted.
And I'm muted.
And we would like to welcome you to episode number 65 of Let's Talk Movies. We're getting into the mid 60s, dude.
I know, right? We're damn near
Kinda crazy.
about ready to retire.
But we're just getting started.
Oh,
So, in our 65th episode, we decided to rank all of the live action Batman films, or not Batman films, but Batman actors. And so we decided to do this a little bit different than I think some other people have. We decided to just rank the more modern cinematic versions of the character, the modern day iterations of him, basically from Michael Keaton's Batman in 1989 all the way up through Robert Pattinson's. Now, that is not to do any kind of or with any kind of disrespect to what Lewis Wilson and Robert Lowry and Adam West brought to the character, but it's so much of a different thing. You know what I mean? It's just very much a different. It's a different character. You know what I mean? Like much like what's happened in a lot of the video games and in the comic books and in the animated series, the character has gotten darker. You know what I mean? It's become more of a mature character, I think, through time. And the original three, are just they're just different. And again, that's not any disrespect to what they brought, because they were the original trio. You know what I mean? They started this whole thing. But the kind of the modern day interpretation is much different. This is also not necessarily a ranking of the best Bruce Waynes. I know for me, I think a lot of people will probably disagree. People might disagree with my list just in general, but I think people would definitely disagree with my list of Bruce Wayne. So this is basically versions of the Batman character themselves, the things we liked, the things we didn't like, and we're gonna rank all 6 of them.
6, yeah.
Not counting the original 3, counting 6. So, Miguel, how are you doing, buddy? Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday, man. I'm probably snowed in. I'm not gonna lie, and a little ticked off by that.
It's bitterly cold. Listen, I saw the Batman last night for the second time, and I'm gonna actually try to get a video about that, kind of sharing my thoughts after seeing it the second time, out sometime today. And it was snowing so hard on my way back home. Like it was when I left work at 3:30 yesterday, it was 64 degrees. And by the time we went to bed last night, we had close to 4 inches of snow, and it was in the single digits.
Yeah, it didn't feel good last night.
It was weird. It doesn't, honestly, it doesn't feel, I hate that because you got to go work outside, but it doesn't feel good right now.
Well, that's the thing. Like when I was working yesterday, it was like a beautiful, like 61 maybe. And I was like low-key like thinking about stripping down. I stripped down most of my uniform. But then like as soon as like I shit you not, as soon as it started going cloudy, me and my supervisor was like, wow, it really did drop 20 degrees in the span of 30 minutes. And we were like, yep, more is to come. So I had to drive home like after like fucking 11 or 12. And dog, when I tell you, when you drive in the fucking interstate with no lights and just a blizzard in front of you, you don't see shit in front of you. You look like you're going through warp speed right there.
Yeah.
Because I swear to God,
Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, I was relying on some guy in front of me, but then I thought I had the crazy idea, let me just pass this guy because he's going a little bit too slow than what I'm going. Yeah. So as soon as I passed him, I realized, oh shit, I can't see anything. I didn't know if I was on the middle road. I didn't know if I was in the slow lane. I didn't know if I was on the passing lane. All I knew was if I started hearing that means I'm veering off the road. That's all it means. And what made it worse was, because I was talking to my girlfriend at the time during I was doing all this. I was like, I hope you know, hun, I'm literally leading the charge into this fucking blizzard in my 98 Golf. I have like over 6 cars behind me just slowly pacing me, and I'm just leading the charge. There's nothing in front of me, just black and a whole lot of just flakes on me. I was like, this ain't gonna go well. But obviously we're here, so I made it out. So that's all that matters. I'm too scared to even look at my car right now. I don't even want to look at my car right now.
Why?
Because it's probably fucked.
Oh, it's got snow all caked like on the bottom of it and stuff.
I know, because I just looked outside my window, and the streets look fine. They got plowed, so but I'm on the side of the street. So if you park on the side of the street and it gets plowed, your car's fucked. by the
Well,
city.
when I was coming back from the movie theater last night, the interstate was slushy, but it wasn't snow covered yet. But by the time I got home, our street was fine when I got home, and then I'm glad I got back when I did, because about a half hour later it was covered. So it was like perfect. It was just like perfect timing. But yeah, and I'll tell you what, the Batman was just as good the second time. It really was. I think the first time I was paying so close attention to like Pattinson himself that I feel like and trying to figure out like all of, his mannerisms and the way he was portraying Batman, that I kind of like a lot of the other stuff kind of came secondary. So this time, like, I was able to like actually sit and watch it as like the mystery thriller that it is, you know what I mean? Like more of a detective film. And I don't know, I really appreciate it. So I'll get a video
Did
about
your list
that.
change after the movie?
No, I think my list has stayed pretty much the same. There's my bottom two are pretty interchangeable. But we'll kind of get into that. So as I said before, we're just going to do kind of the modern iteration of the character, but we would be doing a disservice if we did not mention the three that started it all. So first up is Mr. Lewis Wilson. He played the Batman in The Batman, the 1943 serial films, which, if you don't know what serial films were, they were basically just a collection. It was like a collection of shorter feature films that it was released like a series. It was released like a series. Like, you'd go back every week and you would watch the next chapter in, this Batman franchise. And we got to give credit to Mr. Wilson, because the dude started it all. I mean, that is the first on-screen iteration of the Batman that we ever got in 1943, and that's a really big deal. It's crazy thinking about like where the character has come since then. The design change, the seriousness of the character again, and that's not to say that it wasn't serious. Again, it's just different time. You know what I mean? That's why I felt like it would be hard. I felt like if we did include Adam West and Robert Lowry and Lewis Wilson, it would have been too hard to place them amongst the others because they're just so different. Do you agree?
I would agree, because obviously during those times it was primarily we were all just excited. I'm pretty sure everyone was just excited to see a live action version of the Batman.
Yeah.
And obviously with commercial marketing, they have to, that's like a brilliant opportunity to market it whatever the fuck it is you're doing.
Yeah.
To whatever the fuck it is you're trying to sell. Because I don't know if you remember, guys. If you guys remember reading like really old comic books, I'm talking like old fucking comic books. Like the ones where it had like the advertisement, just shuffled into the fucking comics.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're getting close to like the climactic battle, and all of a sudden they're talking about Hostess fruit pies. You know what I'm talking about? And it's not even the worst part. It's like they tell a smaller story about this certain hero. Like, so you say it's the Hulk. You're reading a comic book about the Hulk, and like you're about to get to this climactic end, and then all of a sudden it like you flip the page, and now it's talking about the Hulk literally talking like a person about Hostess fruit pies.
Oh, you're talking like the ad thing, like the
the ads.
They're like built into the into the comic book. Like it's like a serious story, and you're reading, and then it's like, by the way,
by the way,
check this out.
I'm not gonna lie, it made me want to buy one, bro.
They did that a lot in the 80s.
That's how good they are. That's how good those fucking comic books are. When 30 years down the line, I'm reading a comic book and I'm like, damn, I want a Hostess fruit pie.
Right.
Like that's how good that shit is. But nonetheless, that's pretty much what I'm getting at with these other, like with Adam West and all the previous Batman iterations, is that they were mainly used as a marketing tool to sell whatever the fuck it is they're trying to sell. I'm pretty sure.
Well, I don't know that it was as much of a marketing tool. I think it was just, you also have to look at where cinema was and where film was in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s, because less the 60s, mainly the 40s and the 50s. Because you have to think like cinema was in a much different place. You couldn't do it wasn't widely accepted. Those darker stories were not that wasn't a thing. You know what I mean?
I don't think PG was a thing.
There were certain things that you wouldn't show back then, and it
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have been built into the story. It wouldn't have happened. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you put some of these, now I'm not even talking the movies. I'm just talking the storylines of Batman '89 or Batman Returns or especially Pattinson's Batman. I mean, if you would have put some of those storylines into a film from 1943, 45, 46, somewhere in there, like that would have been it would have been taboo. It would have been too much. You know what I mean? It's kind of like what we
Mm-hmm.
talked about. It's kind of just going back a couple episodes with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Psycho, and like a lot of what those horror films did in the 60s and 70s. Like it was almost like they pushed the boundary of what you could show on screen. And when these iterations of Batman were out, it wasn't dark. Film was, it was pure family entertainment, basically. And that's what these were. So props to Mr. Lewis Wilson for starting off the live action Batman trend. Second was Mr. Robert Lowry, who played Batman in Batman and Robin 1949. This was the first time we got Batman and the Boy Wonder himself on screen in 1949. Look at those suits, dude.
Bro, he looks like Kato.
What's Kato?
From the Green Hornet, my guy. Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Sorry, look at me. Look at me.
I didn't. Okay. It took me a second to actually understand what you were saying. I understand now. So yeah, Mr. Robert Lowry played him in 1949. Played that exact version of the character. And then, of course, we would be remiss if we did not mention the great Adam West. The great Adam West from the 1960s. He was the live-action Batman in the 60s, both the TV series and the feature film that was a part of or a spin-off of the show, the television series. I forget.
Really was trying to look like
let
a bat
me,
right there. I swear to God, look at the way he's holding the fucking cape with just his thumb and index finger.
Is he really? Oh yeah, you're right.
Holy shit, dude.
You're really right. You're not wrong.
There's nothing menacing about a man with those using his fingers to do that. There's nothing intimidating about it.
Let me see. When did the show run? The show ran. Let me see. The show ran. Hold on, I'll find it. From 66 to 68. So 1966 to 68, the Batman television series was on, and then Adam West continued to play Batman in.
That's a little bit of a short run
film as well. Yeah, for as popular of a series it really is kind of a. I never
know,
really
like the Flash is on like season 37, right? I think. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. You know what the like quintessential Adam West Batman scene is for me? Like the thing that I think of the most is when there's the helicopter, the orange helicopter, and the great white shark clomps down on his leg, and it's Batman and Robin hanging they're hanging from this helicopter, and he pulls out the shark spray. It's like a can of shark spray with the little bat symbol on it. And it's just like, I don't know why that has always stuck with me. It's like my favorite scene ever because it's so like, why would he have bat spray? You know what I mean? Like, why would that be a thing?
Well, that's the whole point of the utility belt. It's just, he literally just reaches in and something comes out that somehow works for him in his favor.
It's like somewhere along the line, he said, you know what?
I might need shark spray.
I'm going to encounter a shark at some point. I guarantee it.
So my favorite, I'd say, was whenever he had to like do something, he had to like dispose of a time bomb. I think it was funny though, is like it wasn't even like a bomb. It was like a giant it was like a comic book version of a bomb with like a string, and it was like with a fuse.
Yeah.
And he was trying to figure out where to throw it. And every time he kept finding a place to throw it, it had something else, like a baby in a carriage, a couple of nuns, or a line of preschoolers.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, this thing's gonna fucking blow up. You better throw it somewhere. And instead, he throws it in the ocean. And you know what he's doing? He was like, you know what? Fuck that shark that bit me. I'm gonna throw this fucking bomb at him.
Low key, I actually thought about this the other day.
Does Adam West like fish? No.
Throwing the bomb in the ocean, do you think the end of The Dark Knight Rises was like super low key a nod to that? No.
Really? No way in hell. It couldn't have been. You think Christopher Nolan saw Adam West dispose that bomb in that manner and he was like, I got my finale.
No, but I mean, you obviously pay homage to what came before. You know what I mean? So I could see that being I don't know. I could see that being a little like, oh, it's a little not. I mean, it's not. I mean, come on, he's not. Could you imagine Christian Bale? He's on like the bat plane. I forget what it's called. And he's dragging this atom bomb along, and he's like,
The bat.
nope, nope, nope. Nope. He's just going along. By the way, Halloween Inferno, the Boogeyman Cat. Good morning, fellas. Sorry I am late. No worries, buddy. We're just glad you're here. Don't be sorry.
Hey, don't worry, man, because we're late too.
We were late anyway, so no worries at all. So those are kind of our honorable mentions. Mr. Lewis Wilson, Mr. Robert Lowry. I don't know why I can't say the word Lowry.
Mike
and
Lowry.
Mr. Adam West. The three that started it all, the original trio. Now, let's get into our official ranking of all of the more modern Batman actors. So this is from 1980. We had a lot of Batman actors from.
I love that you don't have Val Kilmer in that.
Well, I couldn't fit all of them.
I know you know where he's placed.
Okay. But I mean, like from 1989, so basically 1990 till now, we had a lot of different iterations of Batman, especially if you look at the animated world too, because I will say, like, you all know this if you've been watching for any amount of time. I'm not a big DCEU fan and like what they've done with that, but DC's animated stuff is on point.
They got some great stories.
It's always been great. They really do. They have really great storytelling in some of those animated films. And of course, even like if you're a 90s kid, especially like a lot of the original Batman Beyond, the original Batman animated series, like a lot of those 80s, 90s, early 2000s DC comic storylines or the animated storylines are spectacularly done.
Yeah, honestly, what you have to do right now is I totally forgot, but we do have to make an honorable mention as well for someone that is definitely the epitome of the Batman voice. And if you don't know who it is, I'm a little bit disrespected.
Which one? Dude, there's so many. Which one are you talking about?
There is the Batman voice.
Say
the original animated Batman series, dog.
I'm drawing a blank. Which one are you talking about? I know Mark Hamill.
Oh,
okay, yes,
Kevin Conroy.
I don't know why I couldn't think of his name.
Yeah, you can't talk about who's the best Batman without like talking about the Batman, Kevin Conroy. Literally, his voice.
Arguably, even more impactful than Kevin Conroy's voice was Mark Hamill as the Joker, though.
Okay, but we're talking about the Batman, my dude.
I know, but we're talking about the animated series, though. I
know, but like if we're gonna talk about like if we're gonna like lay our list down with like the Batman, obviously with just live action, we have to give our daps to like Kevin Conroy, who literally made the Batman even more menacing than Michael Keaton or anyone else who just came in during that time.
That is fair.
So that animated show, really solidified the direction that all the other live action movies were gonna go pretty much.
Dude, I saw somebody, they were like somebody on Twitter last night when I was just kind of scrolling on Twitter when I got home. And somebody on Twitter said a Batman Beyond movie set in this new Pattinson universe would be spectacular. And I was like,
boy, we are years.
We're decades away from that happening. I mean, like maybe eventually, but like we're not even like in the realm of anything like that happening yet. So, so let's go ahead and get into our ranking, man. So we have what, 6? Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. So we are of course going. This is not my ranking. I'm just saying we are of course going from Michael Keaton in '89, George Clooney, Christian Bale, Val Kilmer, or I got that wrong. Michael Keaton, then Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Christian Bale.
Right now.
I'm not trying to. He's not. I'll explain. Affleck, and then Robert Pattinson as well. So we're just gonna kind of go. Those are the 6 that we're actually about to rank. So, do you want to do your number 6, or you want me to do my number 6 first?
Let's on a count of 3. Let's both say it. Okay.
Okay,
All right.
we'll go for it. We'll go for it. All right,
All
here
right.
we go. 1, 2, 3. Val Kilmer.
George Clooney.
I hate you. All right, so Miguel,
What
so
I say?
yours.
What I say? The disrespect over here. The disrespect is real.
Oh, he's not who I wanted to put though, but I had to. So Miguel, explain yours. So yours was George Clooney from Batman and Robin in 1997.
It was
Look
the
at that
bat nipples.
suit. Look at that. Well,
It was the
dude,
bat nipples for me, dog.
that suit, or at least in this picture, you can't really see it as much on Batman. But bro, Robin has got enormous bat nipples.
I know, right? They look like fucking
it's
quarters.
insane. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on George Clooney's Batman?
I mean, how can I say this? When Batman and Robin came out, it got to the point where it was just like, let's just spoof the fuck out of it. Because when Michael Keaton came out,
Yeah.
it really set the whole dark, gritty Gotham vibe and everything. But then as soon as Batman and Robin came out, they literally said, you know what? We kind of miss Adam West's version. So they decided to just do it with the kapow and all the music and all that other bullshit. Like, it really didn't, like, you can't go from like Michael Keaton's dark, gritty Batman and end it with George Clooney's fucking Adam West iteration of the Batman. Yeah. And it was just too spoofy for a movie like that. And also, like, if you think about the fucking story, like, you have Poison Ivy and you also have Mr. Freeze. One of them was trying to stop like global warming.
Yeah.
And the other one was just talking about, like, you know, protecting the environment. And then you have this rich fuck just kicking the shit out of him. Like, if that gets really fucked up, I don't know what will. Yeah. But nevertheless, the story wasn't all that great. I mean, George Clooney as the Batman, I'm sure he doesn't think of that as like one of his pivotal moments. So,
he actually said, when I was kind of reading up on some of these performances, like, he actually said, he was like, I did a terrible job. Like, he's not fond of it. I mean, the suit, I will say the suit, like, this suit actually looks okay, minus the bat nipples. The bat nipples are pretty bad. Like,
boy,
I don't know.
It's back when it was just all tights, dog. Yeah. It was just all tights. No set of, like, you know, comfortability, no movement. Well, boy, you were just, no wonder the Batman and all these older movies were so stiff, because they couldn't fucking move, dude. The only thing that can move was the nipples. And even I doubt that.
It's funny because they had to do this thing, and I don't really know why, especially with Batman and Robin, they really did it, where it's like, you know, it like in Batman Forever, you know, they had their suit. It was pretty much just the traditional suit. And then they had to do this whole like Men in Black thing where it's like old and busted, new hotness. Like, they had to get a new suit at the end. And it had to be, of course, it's the 90s. So it's like everything's got to be in chrome. It's got to be like is that black or is it gray or is it navy? Like, I don't even know what it is. It's like a navy. It's like navy and silver. I don't even know. It's the suit thing was funny, and kind of like what you said. I'll go ahead and say George Clooney was my number 5. I had Val Kilmer 6, and then George Clooney 5. I just, there's something thinking whole picture, like holistically about it. There's something about George Clooney that felt a little bit more. It didn't feel as spoofy, and that's nothing against Val Kilmer at all. Like, Val Kilmer was my number 6, and I don't. How do I put it? I don't dislike Val Kilmer as Batman. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and get that out of the way. Like, I don't have anything against Val Kilmer in that role. I think he did a fine job. Another kind of piece of what I like better about George Clooney is I felt like him and Robin had a better. They made the better duo. I think George Clooney.
Robin was a fucking simp throughout that fucking movie.
He was.
What are you talking about?
I completely agree with you. He was basically just following Gordon's daughter around the entire time.
And Poison Ivy whenever he'd kiss her.
And Poison Ivy, yeah. Bro, do you remember that scene in Batman and Robin when she like she like blows the pink dust on them, and Batman and Robin are fighting over like who gets her?
Yeah. I was like, we're
so funny.
Guys, fuck.
It's like you're both simping right now over over a villain.
Which, dude, I mean, it's valid. She's beautiful, Poison Ivy.
She is.
But
she is
not fighting over worth.
I was actually I rewatched like certain scenes because it's been a while since I've seen a lot of these. Honestly, I mean, I was actually just talking to Julia, and we've talked about doing this on the show, like doing like a classics revisited thing where we take, we set aside 4, 5, 6 shows at a time, and we just do like live just watch throughs of stuff, and we just talk about that. You know what I mean? Like a live commentary type deal.
Yeah.
And that honestly, doing all the Batmans would be a fun one. That'd be a cool way to revisit them. But when is her name Barbara? I forget.
Barbara Gordon, yeah.
Well, it's not Gordon though. What is it? What is her name? And let me find the.
Pretty sure it is Barbara Gordon.
Barbara Wilson. It's Barbara. I knew it wasn't Gordon. She wasn't Gordon's daughter, I don't think, in Batman and Robin. But when she gets her bat suit, she goes in there and Alfred's on the. It's just so it's got like a cheesiness to it. You know what I mean? It's got that like pure 90s cheese. And she walks in the Batcave and
pure 90s cheese.
Yeah. But Alfred's up on the Bat computer and he's like, I thought you might find this place soon. And she says, I want to help Batman and Robin. And he's like, I took the liberty of creating something in your size. And I don't know what it was about, especially Batman and Robin and Batman Forever. But like you said, it's like the suit ups. It's like their version of like the pow, kapang, bang, dang. Like that whole thing from like the Adam West days. Like when they suit up, it's got to be like close-ups on their arms or close-ups on like a glove going on or like zipping up the boots.
Well, you kind of can't doubt that because I mean they did that in like Arkham Knight as well, and they did that in pretty much in most of the Arkham series they did that.
Listen,
they made it
here's
cool.
the thing. Here's the thing though. It would have been a lot cooler and it would have worked better if literally, I kid you not, go back and watch it. And this happens in Batman Forever and Batman and Robin from 95 and 97. When it happens to George Clooney and Val Kilmer, when they suit up, they have to turn on and it's got to zoom in on their tight ass in that black like spandex suit. And then when Barbara suits up as Batgirl, it's got to zoom in. She turns around and it's like tight on her butt and then tight on her boobs. And it's like, why are we zooming in on that? Like show anything, show the bat symbol, show anything else. But it's like, we got to get that ass shot or else it's not a good suit up scene. You know what I mean?
Who produced this movie? Miramax? I don't know.
It's just a strange and I don't know. I think there's something like Joel Schumacher who wrote, directed, I forget who. Let me go back. I have the list pulled up here on Wikipedia of all the different directors and things. Let me see. Yeah, Joel Schumacher directed them. I believe he said there is a cut of like they were originally supposed to be much more serious movies. I don't know if it was like studio interference.
God, if I hear, God damn it. Fucking studios.
I don't know what it was.
Damn near everything.
I think Batman Forever and Batman and Robin were both supposed to be much more serious iterations of the characters than they were. So there's our number 5 and number 6. My number 6 was Val Kilmer, and my number 5 was George Clooney. And Miguel's number 6 was George Clooney. Is your number 5 Val Kilmer?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so his number 5 was Val Kilmer. So, and again, they're not bad. I don't think there's ever been a truly like just god awful version of Batman. You know what I mean?
No, George Clooney wasn't all that great. I'm saying right now.
See, you're calling me out.
You're talking about you started talking about the movie in general. I was just talking about the Batman in general. George Clooney was probably one of the worst.
That's fair.
Yeah,
bro. You know what I love? It's a fight. I don't know why. It's like. It's a terrible scene. Like it's so dumb, but at the same time, there's something about it that I just have to like. In Batman Forever, there's a point where Val Kilmer comes down the stairs. He's in the Batman suit, and Alfred's with him. And he says, what do you suggest, Alfred? By air or by sea? And Alfred, or whatever. And Robin, you hear, why not both? Quick cut to Robin coming down the stairs, and he comes down in the Robin suit, and Val Kilmer's like, he looks at the R, and he's like. R, and he says, Robin, you could use some help up there. He says something like he says something about Harvey and and Riddler. I don't know what exactly he says, but there's like dialogue between them, and but he says, I forget exactly how he words it. Robin, it's been years since I've seen this movie. Robin says something like, "I can't promise you that I won't kill Harvey," and Val Kilmer's like, "A friend taught me a man's got to go his own way." It's just so, it's almost like, man's got to go his own way. I'm breathing really hard, and I don't know why. I think I'm having a heart attack.
Probably all the coke back then.
I don't know. But anyways, then he's like, and Robin says, "A friend," and he goes, "A partner." And it's like quick shot to their hands, like grabbing or something. And it's so funny. Like, it's like, how did we go from Batman 89 to this? You know what I mean? Oh, it's so funny. The Oct is in the house. Peace. What's going on? My mom's in the chat. My mom said, "Did you ever see Adam West on Big Bang Theory? He ranked George Clooney last."
That's funny.
I didn't know he did that. Funny. I have seen him on Big Bang, but I didn't know he ranked.
That's funny. I'm glad the running joke is still there.
That's awesome.
I'm glad there's a collective agreement besides Brad that thinks George Clooney was last.
I don't know. To be fair, I guess it's okay if George Clooney thinks he was bad. Then I guess it was bad.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Well, Adam West is also mayor of Quahog on Family Guy. You know?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he's the mayor in Quahog.
That's great.
All right, so that was number 6 and number 5. All right, I'm gonna make people mad with the next one. I'm gonna be straight up. I'm gonna make people mad. You want to go or you want me to go?
We'll count to 3 again.
All right, we'll count to 3.
All right, 3.
Are you actually going to say it this time? Because last time I said mine and you were like,
I know.
Pause.
I know.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Christian Bale.
Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
You disrespected my boy Christian Bale?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's high on your list too, but he's number 4 on me.
Man. Holy crap. Miguel's number 4 is Christian Bale from the Dark Knight trilogy from 2005. Batman Begins 2005, The Dark Knight in 2008, and The Dark Knight Rises in 2012. Holy crap. I am dying to hear your explanation for why you put my boy Christian Bale 4th on your list. Holy crap. My mind is blown. I'm not going to lie. I didn't expect that from you. I expected.
I ain't got no fucking remorse.
Wow.
Wait, who was yours?
My number 4 is Ben Affleck from the DCEU, 2016 to 2021 as of right now. What films? It was Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice, 2016, Suicide Squad 2016, Justice League 2017, and then of course Zack Snyder's Justice League, and of course The Flash, which is set to come out, was set to come out this year, and now it's been pushed to next year. So what's your? Yeah, I actually noticed that they did that whole DC trailer they put out. They were like, see you at the movies. It's like the year of DC. You have Aquaman, the Fallen King, whatever. Aquaman, you have the Batman, you have the Flash, you have Black Adam, all these movies, and it's like, and I don't know why you're still showing that trailer because they've all been pushed to next year. So it's really not the year.
Today's the year, DC. Psych.
I'm still shocked that you put Christian Bale 4th. I'm blown away.
If I got to compare just the Batman solely on just the Batman, yeah, sure. The Batman, Christian Bale's Batman was very, how can I say? It was very much an epic, but there are just scenes of like the Batman, of Christian Bale's Batman, where it just kind of like turned me off a little bit. Obviously, I can count a number of times where, when Christian Bale's Batman just absolutely blew me away whenever he returned in The Dark Knight Rises, and the cop shoots his like EMP gun, and Batman just turns around and just looks at him, and the cop was like, oh, that was a good scene, sure. But like when it comes to just the Batman and with Christian Bale's, I just never felt so at the time I was like stunned with how well the Batman, Christian Bale's Batman was. But then over the next 2 or 3 Batmans that came after him, I was like, I can kind of see where he may go further down my list, because obviously my thing is with the Batman and Christian Bale's was, one, his fighting style was absolutely atrocious. He does this and goes down.
He does do this.
That's
Bro,
it.
the scene
His
when
fighting style is basically white belt karate, and he got trained by the League of Assassins.
But he did get But it is like karate, though. That's
no, it's not about that. His fighting style is not all that great in this fucking movie, dude.
But then what kind of fighting style would you say it is with the whole League of Shadows thing?
The League of Shadows? I don't fucking know, but it can't be karate. You think the League of Shadows, one of the most infamous secret society that contributes to most of the world's decision and the DCU? You think their form of combat is karate?
He does look like a boxer in a lot of scenes. Like when he comes, like after he starts this like uprising and like the people of Gotham, it's like civilians, the rest of the cops, like they're all rising up to like try to help Batman fight Bane at the end of The Dark Knight Rises. When when they're like all fighting and Bane is fighting cops and whatever, and Batman shows up and they see each other in the crowd, like at the courthouse or whatever, like Bane's up on the steps and Batman's down here. It's funny because like when Bane
come back to Dark City.
Yeah, he's like,
I'm just here to stop you. Like, what the fuck? Well, it was in broad daylight, too. I was like, why is the most climactic end of The Dark Knight Rises in broad fucking daylight? Make it make sense to me. When he came back, when Christian Bale's Batman came back and The Dark Knight Rises, the way he came back at night was fucking awesome. It was absolutely dope. But then it ended in fucking broad daylight.
Dude, when he throws the flare street at Gordon and he says, "Light it up."
Light it up. Yeah,
dude,
that was cool.
Scene, I'm not gonna lie, that scene gives me chills because Bane is pretty like
and
Tom
Bane
Hardy's
is fucking
Bane
scared.
He's pretty like calm about stuff. But when he says "light it up" and Gordon throws the flare and you see the bridge, like Gotham is in ruins and you see the bridge and the bat symbol is like on fire up on the bridge and Bane goes, "Impossible."
Yeah.
And he does kind of look scared, like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Like, crap.
He said, I thought I broke the bat, but apparently not.
But it's funny because when that point I was talking about where he comes up to Bane, it's funny because Bane is all like, you know, he's standing there like he's ready to go fight, and Christian Bale goes. He does. Yeah. He puts both of his arms like up in front of his face.
He looks like a fucking 10-year-old cosplayer. Because you know how like when they sit and they have the suit and they're just standing there and their arms are like spread out. They're like, "No,
dude,
I've come to stop you." Like, bro, no, what the fuck, dude? There's nothing intimidating about it.
Mind right now.
Look, the Batman Begins was dope.
That's my least favorite performance of the trilogy.
That's fucked up because it actually made him legitimately scary. That's where Daredevil got his introduction perfectly. He got it from the Batman at the cargo bay whenever he was like saving the fucking the hostages and all that stuff. Like that's where Daredevil got it. And that's a scary scene. It was great to see Batman introduced right there.
Well,
when Christian Bale's Batman decided to fly through fucking Gotham and the fear toxin was going around and all you had was that. And then you actually had the fear toxin when it actually showed like the evil Batman.
Yeah.
Like that's fucking scary. It really made Batman scary at that point. But over the next course of the movie, it turned into like nothing about the Batman and all about the villains. And that's one thing that really got me. Don't get me wrong. Christopher Nolan's Batman was without a doubt one of the biggest epic of all times in modern day cinema. But in regards to the Batman himself, Christian Bale, it's low on my list because of most of the things I've listed, with him not being as intimidating, his fighting style, and I'm not gonna lie, guys, you guys are gonna hate me. His voice is completely horrendous.
Okay, I agree about the voice thing. Here, I'm gonna go ahead and say this: Christian Bale is my number 2. Christian Bale is my second favorite Batman of all time. I'm just gonna throw it out there right now. I think he looked spectacular. I mean, look at that. I mean, that suit is great.
And look, he already looks like a 10-year-old cosplayer right there.
It's art. You think the suit's bad?
No, it's just the way he is in that thing, dude. Like you can tell that he can't move in that. That's why they said, all right, kneel down and look over the city. And Christian Bale is like, bitch, I can't. He says, okay, just stand there accordingly.
But remember, they built that in the story, though. Like in Batman Begins, every time he turns in Batman Begins, he has to turn his whole body because the cowl can't move side to side. Like,
Yeah, because
Morgan Freeman, Lucius Fox had to actually like build movement in the neck, like into the suit in The Dark Knight. Like that was like something, you know what I mean? That was a big deal. But here's the thing. I completely agree with you about Batman being scary in Batman Begins. Batman Begins is probably my least favorite in the trilogy overall. I shouldn't say, I take that back about his performance. I think his performance was good. Batman Begins, I think the voice thing was better in Batman Begins and The Dark Knight Rises. I think it was okay in those two. The Dark Knight, despite The Dark Knight being sensational, The Dark Knight was where he really got into the men like you are never gonna win. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's where he really went hard. It was like
whenever he got stuck by the Joker and he's like choking or whatever. That's where I was like, okay, you know what? It makes sense to have that. Good people like you, because you're getting choked, dog. But whenever he's free and then he's like talking about, it's like, this just proved that this city believes in good. I'm like, bro, calm down. The pipe's off your neck. Like, what the fuck are you getting at, dude? Like, yeah, I'm sorry if that hurt.
I am gonna get back to the chat in a second. I saw Halloween Inferno said, I like the part in The Dark Knight where Batman says, "Then you're gonna love me."
That's pretty good.
And that was cool. Like I think that was the perfect version of the voice. It's really it's when he's talking to the Joker at the end, like in Heath Ledger's final scene, and then it's also when he's talking to Gordon at the end. Like the end, literally, the end of The Dark Knight, when Gordon is giving his speech and Batman like takes the fall for everything, and he's like, when Gordon says, he's the hero we deserve, but he's not the one we need right now. And the whole speech about, he's the watchful protector, he's our silent guardian, he's the Dark Knight. Like that makes me tear up. Like that is like one of the few scenes in film I actually cry when I watch that, because it's so epic. But the only thing that ruins that is after, like, when he turns Harvey's head over, like from the Two-Face side to the Harvey Dent side, like he's just, I forget what he's even saying, but he's just very like, and granted, he's been shot and knocked off of a building, but like he's very like like he's breathing so hard. Like, I mean, I get it. Like, you know what I mean? Bro just fell off a building. I understand.
Yeah.
But he's just, the people can never know why. So I don't like the voice. But you mentioned about like seeing him in the light in The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
In Batman Begins, it's the same thing with the Batman. Like, spoilers if you haven't seen the Batman. It's the same thing with like at the beginning where Robert Pattinson is like, I'm vengeance. I'm only vengeance. Like basically Batman is out there to break people's jaws at night. Like that he's putting you in the ICU. Like that's his goal. But the end of the movie, he's like, I need to be more than vengeance. Like I need to be hope for people. Like Batman is a symbol of hope and like that there is good out there. You can make a difference. I think in Batman Begins, Batman needed to be scary. He needed to put the fear of God in Gotham. People needed to be afraid of him. That's why that whole scene when he looks at not Maggie Gyllenhaal, who played her in Batman Begins. Who played Rachel? What is it? Katie Holmes. That's who it was. I forgot her name. When he looks at Katie Holmes, when she realizes who he is, and he says, "It's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me." And she says, "Bruce," and
that defines me. It's like, bro, what's up with these pauses?
I know, right?
I doubt in the script there's ... What I do ... that defines me.
But what I do, and then it's like skip 2 pages, 2 blank pages that defines me. And he even gives a nod. He's like, "It's not what I am underneath, but what I do that defines me." And she says,
about that pause,
and he
drive like
jumps
6 cars through it. Yeah, like
But like that scene is really cool when people are on the toxin and like everybody's like it's like you're on like LSD, like everything's trippy and whatever, and they see him as like a bat creature when he's like flying through the air. That's cool. The Dark Knight, they had established who he was. They were still afraid of him, but civilians were like the guy at the beginning. He's like, what makes me so different than you? Like, how come you can go do this? How come you can do these things and no one else can? And because I'm not wearing hockey pads. I love that scene too, and that he jumps from the parking garage. But by the time The Dark Knight Rises happens, it's more about Batman being a symbol. I think that's why he didn't care if he was seen in the light. He didn't care. It was about stopping Bane. It was about he was willing to sacrifice himself for the legacy of Gotham, for keeping Gotham alive. Like, it wasn't about fear anymore. It was more about being a symbol of hope.
Yeah, but
especially after everybody realized that, because that was let's be real. That was a twist. Like, at the end of The Dark Knight, when it was like, we're really going to end the movie and everybody thinks he's a criminal, like he's a bad guy. People think he was with the Joker. They think he killed Harvey Dent. They think he kidnapped Gordon's kids and killed all, you know what I mean? So it's like, really? He's going to just take that? But I think at the end of the Dark Knight trilogy, you have to think, we went from, at the end of the Dark Knight, the police were chasing him down with dogs because they thought he was a criminal. And at the end of the Dark Knight Rises, they have a statue of him. Like, that's a big, I think that's where seeing him in the light and that aspect kind of comes from. And I know a lot of people don't like it. I think that's part of what made the Dark Knight.
But you can make them intimidating and the light too. They just didn't do that with Christian Bale. And I'll bookmark that statement for the rest of the film, for the rest of the list.
Okay. That's fair. I don't know. I disagree. I think that shot's dope. I think that's a pretty dope shot.
I'm sure it is. But I'm pretty sure my nephew could make the same scene with the same costume.
I hate you. Moving on. Let me go to the chat real quick. I know the chat was kind of moving. The Ox says, my favorite Batman is James Jude Gordon.
If I'm being honest, he could play as a He could play. He
probably
as
could. I'm not gonna lie. I could low-key kind of see that happening.
Yeah, if you actually white out his eyes, it'd be dope.
I'm choking.
You have to admit that it's pretty awesome that Adam West had the notoriety of playing Batman his whole life, playing himself.
Absolutely.
Kings of Queens. Yeah. Like he's
100%.
definitely had like the notoriety. Like everyone considers him like the Batman too, as well.
And it's funny because, like you said at the beginning, he only played Batman for like 3 or 4 years, really. It wasn't the TV show went from 66. I think the TV show was 66. The movie was 66 or 67. And then the series ended in 68. So it was really only like a 2 or 3 year period. But that says something. Like, I think that's like, Mom, that's where you're like 100% right. Like, I think it says something. The fact that Adam West only played him for 3 years, but he has that much, like you said, like notoriety, and he would like, it's that important, that he played him for that long. I think that says something like a lot. And she also says, I'm shocked Ben Affleck wasn't further down on your list. Oh, I didn't even talk about my number. We spent all that time talking about Christian Bale. I forgot. And listen, Ben Affleck was my number 4 from the DCU. And I'm going to get crap for this. I know I am. I completely get it. And I understand. I take full responsibility for getting crap for this. There's just something, I don't know what it is. I've never been able to put my finger on it. I think a lot of it does have to do with the treatment of the character and the treatment of the DCEU. But there's just something about him that I just don't like. It's a better version than Val Kilmer or George Clooney, but there's something about Ben Affleck that just, I don't know. And it's not him, because I really actually like him as an actor. I think he's a very talented actor, but there's something about him as Batman. I've never liked it. I don't know why. I think it's something to do, like I said, it's a lot to do with how they've treated the character. It's a lot to, maybe if we would have gotten his Batman film, his solo Batman film, maybe my mind would be
Probably would have
changed a little
changed.
bit.
I'm 100% certain on that.
It may have been changed because I know. Listen, there are people that, and even a lot of the writers of the comic books and a lot of the writers of the animated series and things like that. The various animated DC series. A lot of people who have made the video games and things like that swear that Ben Affleck's Batman is the most comic book accurate version of the character in existence.
Yep. And if you didn't know, the concept art at the Robert Pattinson's The Batman, it showed different suits and whatnot, what it could have been. But you know who's actually behind that mask? It's not Robert Pattinson. It's Ben Affleck. In case you didn't know that. Yep. Look up concept arts of Matt Reeves' The Batman and the different suits, and and some of them are pretty much Ben Affleck's. They're pretty much Ben Affleck under that cowl, and that just goes to show. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. Robert Pattinson is like a great Batman. He's dope, but in regards to like comic accuracy, Ben Affleck's got it. But I get why you don't like Ben Affleck, mainly because of the script, I suppose, and how he was treated throughout the fucking franchise.
I did like him better in Zack Snyder's Justice League. In the Snyder Cut, I thought he was a lot better. But he had more of a serious arc. Like, I just, there's some, like, even in Batman versus Superman, I remember kind of being like, meh. Like, he's just kind of, it's just like lukewarm. There's nothing, like, listen, and I'm going to be honest with you. Like, this is my honest opinion. This doesn't even hold a candle to this for me. Like, they're not even in, like, in the same realm for me. Like, they're just not. And again, it's nothing towards, it's nothing towards Ben Affleck. I like him. I think he's really great. But there's something about him as Batman. It just doesn't work for me. And all the different suits are cool. Like, that's pretty cool. Like seeing the goggles, and we got like the, what's the suit called? From the scenes of, like from the end of the Snyder Cut, where it's got like the scarf, the scarf and all that stuff.
The
and like
Apocalypse.
It's like like the Apocalypse. Like it's like patched up, and it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's been through some shit. You know what I mean? You know, compared to this, like they're the only two graphics I have, but like compared to this suit, you know, and I did like him better in Zack Snyder.
That's not even like a properly well executed picture right there, because if you go back to it, look at it.
Which one?
This one? Affleck one. Yeah, you see that he has no makeup in there. No makeup in his eyes. It's just the mask.
Yeah.
Like, they did not do him well in this picture, without a doubt. I'm pretty sure this is probably one of the reshoots. No, he has. I'm pretty sure he does wear makeup in that. If I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Well, that's another thing that a lot of people have been giving. I'm trying to find a different picture here. A lot of people have given Robert Pattinson crap because of the eye makeup, but all of them wore eye makeup. I mean, like all of them wore eye makeup. It's not just, it's not just Ben Affleck or Robert Pattinson. You know, they all wore different makeup. Honestly, I don't know why it's so hard to find images of Robert Pattinson's Batman, but it is, of like actual like higher quality images. So yeah, I'm not sure. I've never been able to truly place it. But there's just something about Ben Affleck's Batman that doesn't do it for me, man. I think he's a better. I will say this. I'll give credit where credit's due. I think he's a better Bruce Wayne than he is a Batman.
Okay.
So that's kind of that's my thoughts on that. I think he's a better Bruce Wayne than he is a Batman. So let's go to our number three. Are we going separate, or since we're in top three now, like we're in like nitty gritty, or do you want to?
No, let's still do the countdown. I like this.
All right. Yeah, that's kind of cool. All right, the countdown for our number 3 spot. Oh. Yeah, the Christian Bale thing threw me off. I'm just going to say that. All right, you count.
1, 2, 3. Michael Keaton.
Yes, Michael Keaton was mine too. Michael Keaton is my number 3. Mom, I'm so sorry. So both of us, Michael Keaton was our third favorite Batman from Batman 89 and Batman Returns in 1992. Michael Keaton was our third favorite Batman. He's great. Listen, these top three for me are pretty much interchangeable, depending on
Depending on the mood that I'm in right now.
If I'm in like whatever mood I'm in, like they're pretty interchangeable. Like, like watching the Batman again last night, I'm like, damn, Robert Pattinson really killed it. Watching some of those scenes from the Dark Knight trilogy, I'm like, man, Christian Bale really killed it. And then going back and watching scenes from Batman '89 and Batman Returns, I'm like, dude, he killed it. Like, there are just scenes. I will say, I think Michael
You ever dance with the devil in the pale blue night?
Right. I think Michael Keaton did an incredible job.
That's probably one of my favorite moment right there. It really is.
You know, I think my favorite moment is when he's like, well, I don't know what you're thinking. Come on, you want to get nuts?
That's Bruce Wayne.
I know, but that's like my favorite Michael Keaton.
Yeah. But there were just so many moments in with Batman and then all the other one. Is it Batman Returns? Am I mistaken?
Yeah. Yep. Batman from '89 and Batman Returns from '92.
Yeah, exactly. He solidified the whole dark gothic feel that Batman was missing throughout the previous iterations of the people who played Batman, without a doubt. He pretty much set the staple for, hey, if you want to do a good Batman movie, make them dark and gritty. And that's pretty much the way we got it. The way we got him when we first were introduced with him. And the fact that, listen, when Michael Keaton said, I'm Batman, it was more intimidating than Christian Bale saying, I'm Batman. Like, no, dog. Like, when Michael Keaton said, I'm Batman, he has the most, he earns that right to say it because he's the first one to say it. And it's the one that stuck around for years to come. When people think I'm Batman, they think of Michael Keaton.
And he didn't do anything crazy with his voice either.
No, he didn't.
You know?
And that's something Christian Bale did on his own. It wasn't necessarily something people did. And then Ben Affleck tried to, do something else, but that didn't pan out either. But
I knew it was coming. My mom said, you're both in trouble. He's the whole package. Great Batman, excellent Bruce Wayne. And he definitely has the voice. Michael Keaton is a great actor. 100%.
Yeah.
I agree with everything you just said. And that's why I said, though, the top three for me are pretty interchangeable. Depending on the day, depending on the mood, I think it could go either way for me. I also like that the continuity, it's literally the same character in Batman '89 and Batman Returns in '92.
There's no character development.
And I will say there were even small things in the Dark Knight trilogy from Batman Begins to the Dark Knight Rises that weren't the same. Like the voice went from kind of gravelly in Batman Begins to in the Dark Knight, and then it went back to gravelly, so it was just kind of
I needed to take a Ricola after that movie.
Yeah.
So, but
by the way, speaking of the Dark Knight, I saw this the other day. Did you know in that scene, in the scene where, the whole, you're going to love me, like when he turns around and kicks the Joker when he's got Maggie Gyllenhaal, says, hey, stop, when he's got the knife up to the people and he walks up and he's going, well, hello, beautiful. And he walks up when he grabs her face and sticks his thumb in her mouth and he's got the knife up to her and whatever.
Maggie did not expect it.
That wasn't in the script. None of all of that was improvised by him. The speech was partially improvised by him. She was actually the scene, cause he grabs her face and she's she looks uncomfortable. And when she kind of turns her head, she was turning and looking at Christopher Nolan, what the hell is he doing? Cause he runs his thumb on her lip and he's being weird and he's got the knife in the corner of her mouth and stuff. He was being really weird, but I didn't know that. She didn't expect that to happen. And she was kind of she was really uncomfortable.
Get away from me. Yeah.
I don't know if he wanted more out of her. If she wasn't giving the reaction that Heath Ledger wanted. So he was like, you know what, I'm going to grab her. I'm going to grab her face. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of interesting. I didn't know that until pretty it was the last couple of weeks.
You could almost see the uncomfortable, the unease that Maggie Gyllenhaal
and she does because he's holding her face and she goes, she's turning, looking at Chris Nolan, what is? Stop this! Don't you know what I mean? And I'm sure Chris Nolan's going.
Keith is like, this is my movie.
He's going, no,
Yeah. He does the Quentin Tarantino thing where he's kind of like this, and he's like, "Yeah, we like this." So
And
yeah,
then Christian Bale comes in,
yeah.
and he's like, "Bro, you ruined the shot. What do you do?" That was great, and now
No,
you've got to come in.
the "You're Gonna Love Me" thing. That was brilliant. Like I'm pretty sure
That
Christopher
was
Nolan
good.
would
That
probably
was
like,
really good.
this movie's gonna
That
fucking
was
rock.
that
Like
was
that
really
scene
good.
right there was pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So
I even in that scene, that movie is so freaking good. God. Even when the Joker's he's holding her out the window and he says let her go and he goes, "Oh, poor choice of words." And he lets her go and like starts laughing. I thought that was just brilliant, man. Heath Ledger is God, that's still like my favorite performance in a movie. I don't think
Heath
any
Ledger,
performance
yeah.
has ever topped that for me. Like anybody, any Batman movie, any movie in general, that is my favorite performance ever.
Yeah,
It's
I
so
would agree
good
with that too.
and
But you
it's
got
so
to think.
disturbing.
But you got to think. So which relationship do you like better? Christian Bale and Heath Ledger, or Jack Nicholson and Michael Keaton?
I know what my mom would
Because
say.
it's
I
a
know what
tie
my
for
both of
me.
my parents would probably say. I don't know. I
It's
think
definitely a tie for me. In regards to just the relationship itself
that's
between one
hard.
another. Yeah, it's
That's
a
hard.
tough flip up. Because Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson, the way they work together in regards to the relationship between the Joker and the Batman, it was just as impactful as Christian Bale and Heath Ledger.
It's different though because like Michael Keaton was always in control.
He
You know what I mean? The
had his
Joker,
morals. He
the
had his morals.
but not
Batman,
even. I don't mean necessarily in morals. He was always like the Joker doesn't hold a candle to him physically.
mm-hmm.
Like even at the end of the movie when Michael Keaton grabs Jack Nicholson and like pulls him up to him and like he's holding him up like there's no competition there. It's just a matter of Jack Nicholson trying to kind of outsmart him. It was like Jack Nicholson's Joker was more of a gangster, it was more of a gangster type. It was Heath Ledger. I think what I love about the Christian Bale Heath Ledger relationship with that Batman and that Joker is that Heath Ledger, like I always go back to probably my favorite scene in motion picture history is when the interrogation scene in The Dark Knight. When Christian Bale is he's beating the Joker up, like trying to get like information out of him or whatever, and the Joker's just like rambling and giving him all of like the they'll cast you out like a leper. You think that they believe in you, but in the end they will eat you. Like you don't really, these people mean nothing. Like you mean nothing to them. And like the scene, I love. There was never a moment where I felt like Michael Keaton was scared of him. He was scared of what he was going to do. Michael Keaton was scared of what Jack Nicholson was going to do. But the scene when Christian Bale takes it's the best. It's my favorite scene ever. When Christian Bale takes Jack Nicholson, when Christian Bale takes Heath Ledger's head and bashes his head and cracks the glass, the interrogation glass,
boy,
and Heath
that's
Ledger
supposed to stop a bullet. Let me just say that right
well,
there.
yeah, and he cracks the glass, and Heath Ledger falls on the floor, and when he turns over, he's just like it's like the best laugh he does in the whole movie. He turns over, and the makeup is smearing, and you're starting to see his face, and it's like a mixture of blood and makeup, and he rolls over, and he's just hysterical, like it's the funniest thing he's ever seen. And there's a moment where Christian Bale even looks down at him, and he's almost like, what the what who is this guy? Like this is insane. He is a psycho. And I never got that with but again, it's different. I don't know if I could pick one. I feel like they're equal for me. I mean,
Yeah.
It's just two different things. It's like you have to pick. Do you want, the more they respect each other, you know what I mean? I think Keaton and Nicholson's characters both respected each other in a way. Christian Bale and Heath Ledger's characters, I think in a way Christian Bale was almost scared of him because it's just like this guy is unhinged. Like he's purely insane. Like there's nothing, there's no normalcy to him at all. You know what I mean? Because he grabs him and pulls him up and like he's all bloody and whatever. And he even says like, he goes, "You have nothing to threaten me with," you know, like he's not afraid. Like he could sit there and pound his face in and he wouldn't care, you know, he just wouldn't care. So I don't know. It's just, it's different, but they're both amazing. So, they're incredible. But yeah, Keaton. And I'll tell you what, the other thing about Keaton is he nailed the look. That is a good looking suit.
It definitely is. They did brilliantly when they designed this suit, 100%.
I also like
even
the
though
shape
he
of the
was
cape.
like, yeah, exactly. And also just, I know that suit was probably impossible to move with. I'm pretty sure it took him 3 hours to just raise his hand like that. But I'm pretty sure they had to molded a suit.
He's like
that's
Ralphie's
like that.
brother. I can't put my arms down.
Yeah. So, but like, even though this Batman could like barely move and how he would walk, like it's still pretty dope because the whole point of the Batman is to like, here, go back to me. It's like it's supposed to be like just it's supposed to be like huge. Like the cape's supposed to make him like ginormous, like just a full shape. I don't like Michael Myers, but I think Michael Keaton was.
Where'd you go? Whoa, you froze really bad for like 2 seconds.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Am I good now?
Yeah, you sounded like Bane. It was like,
I do not have a hurt. Where did I miss you? Where'd you miss me?
You said the cape made him look huge, and it was.
Okay.
It's
yeah,
like
the cape definitely made him look huge, and that was the whole point, was to make him look almost inhuman whenever it came down to like him attacking the criminals. And even though he couldn't like move all that well, I mean, like that was a point. He was supposed to just be a shape, like a fucking inhuman thing at night. And obviously, you know, whenever, you know, they were fighting in the museum and then when they're fighting in the cave, like it's a different story. I will tell you, there's one moment where I was thinking to myself, I was like, we're getting pretty spoofy. Whenever he was like when Michael Keaton was fighting I think one of the bodyguards of the Penguin, and he like gets around him and whatnot, and the bodyguard was like, "What are you gonna do now, punk?" And then he looks down. Michael Keaton looks down, and there's a bomb strapped to old boy's chest. He looks up, and you just get that mean face of him like getting ready to throw a punch, and punches him into the fucking well, and it blows up. Like Michael Keaton killed the dude.
Well, and did you notice? Yeah, that's true. Did you notice though? Like even now that I really think about it, he didn't talk a whole lot as Batman.
No, he didn't.
There really wasn't a whole lot of talking. Like, yeah, and Christian Bale, Christian Bale talked more. Pattinson talked a lot.
He's supposed to.
Right, but again, different versions of the character, different scenarios. Keaton, like even a lot of times, like there's in Batman Returns, he does talk to the Penguin some, and he talks to Catwoman. But like there's one scene. It's funny. Like he was so a lot of times like something crazy will happen, and Keaton just gives the. He just gives a look. You know what I mean?
You have to nail that. You have to nail that brooding look. Like if you can't nail that brooding look, you kind of lose it for me with the Batman.
If you don't nail the brooding look, then that isn't as grand. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
then that's not as crazy because you know. I love the shape of the cape too. Nobody else did that. The cape is always just like Bale's cape is just a rectangle. You know what I mean? I think George Clooney's like you can kind of see it here. Like George Clooney's was just kind of like that. I guess Adam West kind of had that like winged look to it. You know what I mean? But Keaton's cape looks so just like the way it looks winged and it's got the edges on it and stuff. And I think Affleck's and Pattinson's were both just kind of straight as well. But you know, there's a scene. It's funny because in Batman Returns, there's a scene that Michelle Pfeiffer, she's like, you know, she's up in Batman's face or whatever, and he's got like it's funny because it goes back to like the whole Michael Keaton was just like he just smoldered, like he never said anything. He was very calm about everything, and she licks his chin, and it's like her tongue goes like up on his lip, and I was like, that man had to film that while she licked his face. Like, you know, he did a great job, man. It's Batman '89. I'm curious to see how it's going to be.
Looking at Tim Burton like, bro, is he really doing this right now?
He was reading the script. He said, "You want her to what?" I'm curious to see how they do him in the Flash since Keaton's coming back.
That's exciting.
That is
It
exciting.
really is.
That makes me more. Honestly, I think that's why I'm excited for the Flash because I don't
Mhm.
really care. Honestly, the DCEU is pretty much dead to me, except for the fact that Michael Keaton is coming back as Batman. That's pretty much that's pretty much the only reason I'm excited. I don't really
Yeah.
care about the Flash. I don't really care about Black Adam. I really don't care about Shazam.
Yeah,
I don't
none of
know.
them hit.
I just don't care. I really
Yeah.
don't. And I know people it's part of the reason that this is ruined for me. Because it's just like it doesn't matter. Like I just don't care. It doesn't matter to me. So we already said my number 2, which was Christian Bale. Miguel, what is your number 2?
It's Batfleck, dude.
So Miguel's is Ben Affleck from the DCU.
He's expecting me to say number 1.
I really was. I was very much expecting you to say number 1. I'm shocked our number 1 is the same. Which we already kind of talked about Batfleck. Do you want to share anything else real quick before we go to number 1?
Yeah, plenty. Because let me tell you this right now, my guy. Without a doubt,
I just trashed him for the last 30 minutes.
Batfleck is probably, without a doubt, one of the most aggressively disposed iteration of the Batman that I've ever seen in my life. He had an enormous amount of potential to be the most comic accurate, brooding, scary, and most powerful and deadly Batman there would be on live action. But then the script was like, you know what? Nope, fuck you. And just decided to go with the usual Josh Whedon cut of it. It's so fucking disrespectful the way they did Ben Affleck, the way he did him so dirty. And I'm pretty sure if Ben Affleck directed it himself, it probably would have been way better because Ben Affleck is a decent director too.
Yeah.
You've seen Gone Girl?
Well,
he can
Gone
do
Girl
mystery really well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Ben Affleck is a very talented actor.
He's a very talented actor and director.
I think it's a combination of things. It's the script. It's the way they used him. Like my mom said at one point, she said, I really like Ben Affleck and I agree he's a great actor. But yeah, maybe they made bad writing decisions. I just think of Justice League and they made him useless. Yeah, they really do. He was useless. He was just kind of like I just feel like in the DCU, Batman is just kind of there. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't
Which
really
isn't
mean
the
anything.
fact,
He's
dude.
just
The Batman
there.
is he's such a fucking menace to the Justice League. It's like in the movie Doom, the animated series, literally the entire Justice League got nerfed by just the Batman's blueprints on how to take down the Justice League. And every single one of them was gonna die if it wasn't for the Batman saving every single one of them and him being like, sorry, it was Savage took my plans and almost killed you all. And then the Justice League was like, well, why? He was like, because you guys could be evil. The fuck? If you go evil, I'm gonna stop you 100%.
I'm not gonna sit and compare it to Marvel. I'm not gonna do that. We've done that enough. And I know people give us shit for doing that. But Bruce Wayne should be the Tony Stark of the DC universe. You know what I mean? He should be who it all focuses around. And the DCEU not only didn't do that, not only did they not make him the focus, but all of the characters. I will say, except for Superman, I was never even as a kid, I was never a Superman fan. I just didn't care. He was one of those characters. I could care less about Superman. I actually really liked Henry Cavill's Superman. He made me like Superman. He made me
they humanized him.
I was
because they humanized
like
him, and they pretty much did. They definitely did nerf him to a certain degree. They nerfed Superman and in the whole DCEU.
And that's part of what makes me so pissed. Is it's wow, you actually you made me like Superman, and you actually kind of made me like Ben Affleck's Batman in the Snyder Cut, and now it's just going to be well, we're going to bring Michael Keaton back, but we're going to bring Michael Keaton back just to get rid of everything else, and then Michael Keaton's going to go away, and then it's just going to be a new path, and it's what? It's this could have been the coolest thing ever. Yeah, and you just again, it's I said this in one of our first 10 or 20 shows. I said it's like Warner Brothers was handed a winning lottery ticket and they decided to rip it up like a winning Powerball number, and they were just like, we're gonna go for a scratch off instead. And it's like,
Yeah.
why would you do that?
Yeah.
What? Like, I don't understand.
But let me give you like over like a dozen. Let me give you like a couple of scenes that really solidified myself with Ben Affleck and why he's number 2. One was the beginning, the introduction of him, when the police were just looking for this organization, and all they found was the ruins of all of these fucking thugs. They find the guy handcuffed to the gargoyle with the brand, which, by the way, is a little off-putting, but it solidified like he is a force to be reckoned with. Yeah. And then when the police officer turned around and there was a Batman just like hanging like the fucking Jeepers Creepers, like that was fucking scary. And how he climbed through the wall, like it made him seem so inhuman. Yeah. And like the police officers were just as scared of the Batman. That's what I love so much, was like not only were the criminals scared, but the police officers and the civilians were scared of the Batman at that time. Obviously, later on, with like 40 minutes of the movie, they turn him out to just be a normal guy. But throughout the first part of the movie, they really made him scary. Yeah. They made him a force to be reckoned with. Everyone was scared of him. And also I think in Batman versus Superman, the warehouse scene, that solidified me as well. How well he can take down the entire warehouse with ease and just take that and use his gadgets. He used a gadget that I love to use in Arkham City, where he just threw all those darts and it took down all the guns. Mm-hmm. Brilliant. The way he used the grappling hook to tie someone down and throw him back up in the air so he can use it as an anchor. Those are attributes that I never really got to see in the Batman, and like Christian Bale's Batman or Michael Keaton's Batman. I never got to see any of those like attributes being used. His hand-to-hand combat, without a doubt, fucking dope. His power, I swear to God, if you put Christian Bale, Michael Keaton, and Pattinson and Affleck all in the same room, do you know who's gonna fucking walk out? Ben Affleck. He's gonna
did you see that meme? Did I send you that meme? It was like it was a meme. I put it in the We Watched the Movie group actually a couple days ago. It was a meme, and it was Robert Pattinson, Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, and Michael Keaton, and it was like no weapons, no gadgets, no armor, no tech, just straight up hand to hand, just fists. Which one walks out of the room between Christian Bale, Michael Keaton, Robert Pattinson, and Ben Affleck? And it was like, logically, probably Christian Bale or Ben Affleck, one of the two of them, because of the fight training.
No, I would say it definitely would be Pattinson and Ben Affleck.
You don't think Keaton would hold a candle to them, though?
Keaton probably be the first one out.
Oh, wow. Mom, did you hear that?
Tanya.
He said Keaton would be the first one out between all of them.
Keaton would be the first one out. Just because of his suit. He's not able to like properly fight or use his skills. But then you have Pattinson and then Ben Affleck, who, if you've seen him, how he took down all those fucking Riddler gang, dog. This guy's brutal as fuck. Christian Bale,
I don't know.
He just wants to subdue you. His whole like, no guns. So he's just like, knocking people out. No, Ben Affleck and Pattinson.
Said he's much older.
Yeah, true. It's true. Older. So you kind of can't do all that. But I would say this time and time again. Ben Affleck's probably one of the most comic accurate version of the Batman. And even though his voice is a little fucked up, like I don't really like the voice, just the way he interacted with like Alfred, the criminals, and when he interacted with fucking Lex Luthor. Do you not remember that scene whenever like Lex Luthor is like locked in the cell and then all of a sudden it's kind of dark.
That was good.
And then it starts flashing and then all of a sudden the Batman shows up. It's like, holy fuck.
I'm not saying it's all bad. There are some killer scenes in there, and there are some really good Ben Affleck scenes. But I kind of disagree about the tech thing and the gadgets. Like the gadgets are very important. Like obviously it's, especially if you've played the Arkham games, like the gadgets are super important. It's a super important part of Batman. But I think there's a balance. And to be completely honest, I feel like with Batfleck and in the current DCEU, without his tech, he's obsolete. Seriously, I really feel, especially in what we've seen in both Justice League movies, without the tech, he might as well go home.
You're also talking about fighting Doomsday, Steppenwolf, who whopped Superman, and Steppenwolf, both shitty versions of Steppenwolf, both of them, and also the fucking parademons. Granted, he held himself with the parademons, but still, he got his shit whopped by a fucking humanoid cockroach. Like, rightfully so. But you gotta also understand, those 4 are fucking extraterrestrial super beings.
I know.
Understand that. If you're just talking about like street level Batman, which is who he initially corely is, that's where you understand like
Bro,
the whole point of it.
If Black Widow and Hawkeye can fight Thanos, Bruce Wayne can fight Steppenwolf. Let's be real.
How did Hawkeye and Black Widow fight him?
I mean, they didn't do well.
How long did they go?
They didn't do well.
Literally,
but they still fought Thanos.
Black Widow got trapped by dirt. And Hawkeye didn't even fight Thanos. I don't think he ever did. Anyone's got his shit whopped by the fucking, huh?
He did an Endgame. I mean, not like hand to hand.
Exactly. He literally and Hawkeye was about to get killed by those fucking dogs, like alien dogs or whatever the fuck those things are. He was about to get killed by all of them. So yeah, like no, 100%. Thanos was gonna whop Black Widow and Hawkeye in the live action MCU. So I understand why Batman needed all those gadgets so he could take on these parademons. I 100% get that. And it's even shown in the fucking animated series. When I think it's Justice League War or something like that. Like the first of the new 52 movies. He was having trouble with the parademons. So it's understandable why his gadgets were not, without his gadgets, he's just a human. And it's understandable of that. But you're talking about low-level street thugs and throughout the day of like patrolling Gotham, Batfleck's your man, dude. He's just much more intimidating and much more better in hand-to-hand combat.
I completely get that. Again, I don't want to completely trash
I just think
he's
extremely underutilized and thrown away in the DCEU.
Compared to some of the others, he's down on my list. He just is. Speaking of which, are you going to also rate your favorite Batman villains? That would be cool, but if we did, I would love, yes, we probably will at some point, but we would have to include the animated stuff. That would have to be across like all like the base, just in general, plus the animated stuff, plus the live action stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Because it's there's not enough yet of all of the different villains. You know what I mean? I mean, we've had what?
Well, I mean, if we were going to do a list, it'd obviously be like a top 10 or 5. And then you would have to base that off of like video games, animated series, comic books, and live action.
Well, because even Joker, we have Heath Ledger,
he's in every single facet of entertainment.
I'm thinking live action. We have Barry Keaton. Sorry. She hasn't seen it. We have Barry Keoghan, which we don't know anything about him yet.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mom. The Joker is at the end of the Batman, kind of. Like, sort of, maybe, kind of. Not a lot. Which I still disagree with. I don't think they should have done that. I would have. That's the one thing I would have taken out of the Batman. Yeah. I don't think it worked. It was just kind of like I thought it was Two-Face at first. I really did.
It could have been Two-Face.
I thought it was Two-Face. Well, everybody's like, nope, it's the Joker. It's the Joker. He made a clown joke and he laughed. But I was like, okay, but that's.
So did Two-Face.
Okay, exactly. Like Two-Face could do that. Yeah. But it's not Two-Face because why would you? Unless they're going to do it as Harvey Dent has already become Two-Face, but that doesn't make sense. Why would you leave that storyline out?
Yeah, true.
You know?
Because it's already
also Matt Reeves confirmed it's the Joker. 100%.
Okay.
It's the Joker. I forgot about that. He said it's him, and he said Batman is all like Robert Pattinson's Batman has already had contact with the Joker. So I don't know. But I disagree with that being thrown in there. But so I was kind of shocked. Call us crazy. Robert Pattinson, I think, is the best live action version of the Batman that we have ever gotten. And I think that's crazy. It sounds crazy, but listen, I think he freaking killed it.
Yeah.
I think he killed it. And as somebody who I will 100% admit.
Mainly by the fact that he exceeded a lot of people's expectations too. He pretty much did a beautiful job.
When they announced him and when they were like, hey, Robert Pattinson is Bruce Wayne, I was like, why? But seeing it, I'm like, holy crap, it worked. Like it was, there's an amount of like, it's really the best of like every world. You know what I mean? It's like the best of every version. It's got the realism from the Dark Knight trilogy, but it's also got the gothicness of the Keaton movies. Plus, it's got a lot of the callbacks to like the original. I mean, the suit looks
And
good.
he's got the
It's
brutality of Ben
practical.
Affleck.
Yes, and
Yes.
he is brutal. He's way more brutal than Ben Affleck, dude. Let's be
He's
real.
way more brutal, yes. And I agree with you there. But in regards to strength, Affleck got the cake. But in
Well,
regards to
that's
like
fair.
brutality, yeah. Patterson's got it. He
Yeah.
has definitely been solidified already as one of the most intimidating fucking Batman. Because his smolder and his brooding is on point. And the first time we see the Batman, no. The second time we see the Batman, whenever the police officer like stops him, like, why the fuck you letting this Joker in? Quote unquote. And all you see is him looking at the hand, and you see his fucking stare him down. And I was like, bro, he's about to get his shit rocked in front of all these cops.
I love the suit. I love that the suit's practical. Like the batarang like comes off of the suit. I thought that was really, really cool. I get an Arkham vibe, like the Arkham games. I really get that vibe from the suit. I like that it's like armor. It's bulletproof, like it's armor with leather on top. It's cool. Like there's something about it, man. It's got a practicalness to it. I love the fact that he is scary. Like I can't look at any other iteration of the character all the way from Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Christian Bale, Batfleck. I can't think of any other version of the character where I look at him and say, wow, that is a mentally unstable human being.
Yes.
And you look at Robert Pattinson's Batman and you think that is an unstable, like he is not in a good, like at the beginning of the movie, it's like, wow, he is not in a good place. Like he is depressed. He is literally his only purpose isn't to go inspire, like, it's not to inspire hope and justice. I mean, he literally just goes out there
and
to beat people to death.
Up. Yep.
And I like even the way he's introduced, like at the beginning of the movie, like when you see like the bat signals up in the air and criminals are just looking off, like they're looking in the shadows, like he's not even there. But
yeah,
it's
you
like,
didn't even need Batman to solidify his fear amongst the civilians and the criminal world.
Like into it's like when that whole opening monologue, when something in the way, yeah, ooh. Like when the whole, like his whole monologue is being, when he's like, fear is a tool, and he's like, basically they're afraid of him, and he's using the fact that they're afraid of him against them, like their criminals are doing things and they look in the shadows and it's like they think twice. They're like, oh my god, like he could be anywhere, and he even says, he's like, I can't be everywhere at once, so I have to choose what I'm doing very carefully, but even the first time we see him, like it's just like you hear the dark, like they stop when the Joker gang like stops and they turn and all you hear is and it's getting like louder as he just like emerges from the darkness. Like that is what this version of Batman is. He just he is, like he says, I am the shadows. Like he could be anywhere. He, what I mean? It's just it's so good, and he has such a good arc from the beginning to the end when he realizes that like he does have to be hope. Like he can't be, and that's why I said a lot of people thought he was
even in the fucking sunlight, when he decides to say like, I am the hope, and he's out there, helping people, when you see him stare off into the fucking distance, he's brooding. That's scary. That's a scary look Pattinson gave.
Honestly, even in the sunrise, he looked just as good as he did at night.
Yeah, he looked like an absolute menace.
Yeah.
It looked like he was staring at the penguin, and the penguin's sitting there like.
Well, and I also liked that. I don't know. I know like he doesn't have the physical stature of Ben Affleck, but I liked that it shows him he's human. Like there's a human under that with like actual human emotions. And I know I don't want to give the whole movie away for anybody who hasn't seen it, but like he's human. Like he can get hurt, like it shows him with the eye makeup and the bruises and the scars, and when he takes the gloves off, his hands are wrapped and bloody. Like there's a sense of realism to it that I don't get with any of the other ones, even from the Dark Knight trilogy, which was the most real of any of them, you know?
No, because but then they gave him like the fucking exoskeleton leg, and he starts kicking brick walls. I was like, the fuck?
Yeah.
He says, real nice. I was like, what the fuck, dude? But yeah, Pattinson's Batman was is pretty much a ribbon tied into a bow of all the other Batmans in the entire franchise, live action franchises. And it just goes to show that this Robert Pattinson's Batman has so much viable potential to be more scary, more menacing than all of the other ones. And I think there's like a huge thing where like people were complaining that Pattinson wasn't wanting to work out or whatnot. He was unwilling to like, change his body to like properly don the Caped-Crusader look. But I think it worked perfectly because again, it's year 2. And just give him give him to the next sequel. I'm pretty sure you'll start hearing stories about him bulking the fuck up because he's gonna want to be more intimidating than.
There were a lot of people though that were like, that said, he did mess up a few times. You know what I mean? Like even at the end, the whole Riddler thing. I'm not gonna give it away on here, but like the whole Riddler thing with the you know what I'm talking about, the explosions and stuff. Like if he wouldn't have went and talked to him and then talked to Gordon. He would have never, that would have been a shock. He wouldn't have ever figured that out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, he's not perfect and he's not, like Ben Affleck's, Christian Bale, we saw the rise. Ben Affleck's, he started off, he's already an established scary Batman. This version he's not perfect. He doesn't have it all figured out, but I appreciate that. I
nailed the fear down quick.
He nailed the fear. And I hope that we stay in this universe for a little while and that they really give him a lot of time because I think this universe, I loved the Arkham games and I think this universe feels like the Arkham games, but with the realism of the Dark Knight trilogy and with the gothic, trashiness of what Gotham City was from the Keaton films. I mean, it's literally the Batman is like the best of every world put together.
Yep.
And I just love that about it. So that is all of the live action Batman actors ranked all the way. Of course, our honorable mentions, Lewis Wilson, Robert Lowry, and Adam West from the 40s through the 60s. And then, of course, Michael Keaton from 1989 and 1992, Val Kilmer from 1995, George Clooney from 1997, Christian Bale in the Dark Knight trilogy, Ben Affleck in the DCEU, and of course now Robert Pattinson as the Batman, or as he likes to say, vengeance. So yeah, there's never been a bad version of this character. I mean, all the way through its cinematic history. This is, I think both of us, I think I speak for both of us. I think we are more Marvel fans as a whole, but Batman will always be, I mean, I could show you millions of pictures of me in Batman costumes as a kid and Batman everything. I mean, Batman will always hold a very special place for me. Just because the characters, he's arguably the best comic book character of all time. I think Batman and Spider-Man are like the top two. They're just the best. I mean, you'll never be able to top it. So, all good versions of the character. Guys, that's going to do it for us. Episode number 65 of Let's Talk Movies. We are going to take Tuesday night off to bring you some more content. We're going to do our commentaries or film our commentaries of Halloween H2O and Halloween Resurrection. Oh, I'm not looking forward. I am looking forward to it, but I'm also not looking forward to it because I hate Resurrection. So we can finish. Miguel's looking forward to it. He's gonna have a fun time. We're gonna get to hear Busta Rhymes and all of his
Busta Rhymes.
But we're gonna do those commentaries, and then we're gonna use those to finish out season number 1 of Purely and Simply Evil. Next season, I've said this a million times at this point, we are going to check out the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise and a couple of other films thrown in there as well. Indy Phantom shows up at the last second. Just missed you guys, but I'll catch up with this video. No problem, buddy. The replay will be on there. This will be on all podcast platforms by the end of the weekend. I have a couple of other shows that I need to get up there. as well. New episodes of our show are on Tuesdays and Saturdays, except for this Tuesday, at 8 p.m. and 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at We Talk the Movies. And we will talk to you guys soon. We hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Stay warm if you're anywhere where this winter storm just slammed us. And we will talk to you soon. Have a good one, guys. See ya.
See ya.